Hey, hello, friends, and welcome back to the absolute greatest, most spectacular show on the internet. It's all the rave. Fives of people are watching it. This is Have I Told You About This? This is a show where each week, me, Brad Komjenick, my mind takes me to a place. And then wherever it takes me, I come and share that with you. Oftentimes, it forces me to do deep dives into subjects, but kind of this week, it was once again a little bit more nostalgic. I was having a conversation with a friend at work this week, and we got on the topic and what eventually turned into be the rabbit hole of things that we missed, right? We all have nostalgia things, right? One of my big things for a long, long time was like, man, do I miss the Atari 2600. And I would love to go back and play some of those games. And then I got out my 2600 and popped some cartridges in and could play each game for about 2.2 minutes. And went, well, that's enough of that. Because now in the back of my mind, I've seen the God of War, the Call of Duties, the Claire Obscure 33, the games that just blow these out of the water. Now, again, nostalgia is about taking you back to a time when things seem to be fun and better for you. You had less stress in your life. You had less responsibility, and you had all the time in the world to do the things that you wanted to do. And the little things like, say, taking out the trash or doing the dishes or chores or school or whatever it is that you may have were getting in the way. So that's why we long for those times. We go back to those times. But the funny thing is that when you actually could, if you could get those things back, well, it wouldn't be what you thought they were when you were there. They were great when you were there. Don't get me wrong. But today, if you were to go back to them, it's just not quite the same. Now, that's not the same with all things. And it seems like the longer away you get from things, um, the less the less cool that they are to you, right? For example, I call it looking through rose tinted glasses where everything looks a little bit better through those, right? Like I said, I can't play an Atari 2600 game. Only so like Pitfall. I can go back and play Pitfall or any of the Activision games, Keystone Capers, things like that. Stampede. I can play those games for long periods of time. Most of them I can't. I just can't, right? But let's move up all the way to say PlayStation 1, and there's some games there I could play all day, maybe all weekend, maybe all week, you know. So it just depends, how closer you get to the things that you like really depends on how much nostalgia is going to wrap around you. That's one of the conclusions my coworker and I came to very rapidly as we began to talk about these things that we were missing and longing for. So, this episode 15, is just about some things that I miss. And I thought I'd share them with you, see if you miss any of these as well. And let's just go ahead and get started. First thing that I really, really, really began to miss because it's so top of mind for me today, right now, as we speak, is the fact that back a while ago, I'll say, you didn't have to know everything about everything. As a matter of fact, it was kind of cool to go into things knowing nothing and being absolutely surprised and shocked about what you saw or read or did or played or whatever it might have been, right? Let me give you a great example from today. The Avengers Doomsday upcoming movie, and there, I love that it says, that poster, which was fan made. I don't even think that was a real one, was like May 20. It's not coming out till December. Versus The Empire Strikes Back. Let's go all the way back to The Empire Strikes Back. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, right now, I think I know pretty much a major part of the plot of the Avengers Doomsday. And that's because I watch social media and I keep up with it, right? I'm seeing people like the movie critic John Campea, and he's telling me over last week that, hey, did you know that on that um, after credits shot from the Thunderbolts movie where you see the Fantastic Four rocket going by, it's thought that Captain America and Doom will be on that rocket ship too. He just blurts it out. Okay. Well, that's cool. But now, if that's true, I know it, and there goes a major plot point that got spoiled. Now, again, did I have to watch that? No. Did he have to blurt it out? No. But at the same time, now something's been ruined about the movie. Now, maybe ruined, maybe not. I mean, that that's subjective. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I mean, I'm still gonna watch it and go, "Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. Look, there's Chris back as Captain America, and look, there's Doom, and we know that's Robert Downey Jr. But why is it Robert Downey Jr.?" And I mean, so I'm still gonna like it, but friends, I can't fathom going in to The Empire Strikes Back, sitting in my seat, knowing Darth Vader was Luke's father. That would have just ruined that movie for me, for sure, absolutely for sure. Because think about it. When we left Star Wars, Death Star blown up, good guys win. That's where we're at. That's where it was left off. And now all of a sudden, when we start The Empire Strikes Back, they're coming back. How are they coming back? How they come back from their deadliest weapon being blown up? So many questions to answer. Where are Luke, Leia, and Han, and C-3PO, R2-D2, Chewie, all the people that we love, and what new things are we going to see? And that's really cool. Now, don't get me wrong. There's still a lot of that's here in Avengers Doomsday that we don't know about. And of course, Marvel, Disney, every movie company is getting much better about putting out false um, things about their movies, tales, if you will. So maybe what John Campea heard was totally wrong. But even if it wasn't, now I feel like it was, and here we are. I mean, these and it's like this with literally everything, right? It's everything. Um, we want to have everything. We want to know everything about every TV show, about every movie, about every book. There's all over YouTube what they call BookTube. You can go and read or watch. I'm sorry, people who have get what's called an ARC, an advanced reading copy of a book, and they'll read it and they'll just get online and tell you all about the book. Now, do you really then want to go spend 3, 4, 5 days of your life reading something that someone's told you all about? No. Do I have to watch those people? No, I don't. Again, it's kind of the nature of this beast that we live in here in today's time. But still, why do we have to know everything about everything? Why can't we be surprised? I go back to the last Spider-Man movie that had Doctor Doom in it, where I'm sorry, not Doctor Strange, and it was the timey-wimey thing, and we got all the other Spider-Men coming in. Unfortunately, I knew that. I knew that going in. I can't imagine if I would have went to that movie and didn't know that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield were gonna be in that movie as Spider-Man. It would have blown my mind. Why can't they keep things like this under wrap? And again, I know people are flying drones over movie sets all the time, and the actors are in it, and they go, "Oops, I said this." Even Sir Ian McKellen, who's going to be Magneto in the Doomsday movie, let out a major spoiler, which I'm not going to say here, last week in an interview because he does 10,000 interviews. He's almost 90 years old, and he's like, "Oh, should I say this? Should I say this? I don't know. You're telling me I have to do these things. I'm just say what's on top of my mind." So we have to be really, really careful about the media that we enjoy these days because, well, it can be ruined in a heartbeat. And friends, you don't want these things to be ruined. You don't want to know everything there is to know. Um, there's even whole websites about, are there after credit scenes? Set your butt in the chair and wait. You might wait 10 minutes. You're going to waste 10 minutes of your life 30, 40 times a day. So what's one more 10 minutes just waiting to see if there's an after credit scene or not? But yet in this day and age where we just whip out our phones, is there after credit scene? Oh, there's 2. Well, I'll sit here and I'll wait then. There were no after credit scenes in Empire Strikes Back or anything like that. Not that those aren't good things or fun things or yeah, I mean, sometimes they tie in. Sometimes they're just an utter waste or something that somebody just wanted to put in there. Yet, still, wait, be surprised, enjoy the anticipation of things, right? Same thing, I'm a huge video game player, as you guys know, if you've watched this channel. You can't if you're on any kind of social media at all, every game is ruined to the nth degree by the time the thing even comes out. It's a wonder anybody plays any video game anymore. It's like, well, I already know about that. I already know all about all the new God of War. I already know about all the new Tomb Raider stuff that's coming out. It's crazy, isn't it? I already know it all. Feel like I played it. I really miss those days of going into the Empire Strikes Back and sitting there going, I have no idea what's about to happen. And that thrills me to no end. Where are those? Why can't we get back to those times? Don't tell me if we didn't try hard enough, we could say nothing about these movies. And let's just be logical about this. If Marvel and Disney didn't say a word, other than we're putting out an Avengers Doomsday movie, and that's it. People are gonna go see it. They don't need to hype it up, they don't need to do anything else. They could put out a trailer for the movie when they're ready, but please don't give away every major plot point in your trailer. Don't do that. Show a little scene, little scene, little scene, little scene, and leave of the rest to our imaginations. See, this is the thing is our imaginations are like muscles that haven't been used in years. And what happens to those? They rot, they atrophy. This is why I look at young kids, and this is why I have such a great time with my grandchildren and just see like they can make up whole games just on their own. Oh, we're going to do this, and then you say this, and I do this, and blah, blah, blah. And sure, they're all it's just a hodgepodge of things, but that's their imagination at work. And they get to see the world through those new eyes again that we no longer get to. And I miss that. I definitely miss that. Do you miss that? Do you miss having all your television shows and streaming shows and movies and books absolutely ruined because you're like me and you like social media? Like, I like to have things on in the background when I'm doing my day job. And when I do, and somebody says, oh, by the way, Captain American Doom going to be on this rocket. It's like, don't say that. No, wait, I wasn't. Of course, that's the part that I heard that I didn't have to hear. Anyway, let me know down in the comments. What do you think? Do you miss the days when we could go into things and not know everything about everything? Or are you on the other side of that coin? Are you saying, no, 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 I want to know as much as possible. It never ruins anything for me at all, but I like to be in the know because I know a lot of people who are like that as well. All right, let's move on to the next thing that I miss. So let's do this, and go to this. Saturday morning cartoons. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I believe that might be Gem. I don't know. I didn't watch that. Thundercats, Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters, Transformers, Scooby Doo, He Man, Garfield, and the Smurfs. Isn't that awful that I can name all those? And I didn't watch the Smurfs. I was way, way too old for them, but I knew about them. Knew about them all the time, and I even had a ColecoVision video game system, and they had one of the best like launch games for the ColecoVision and the Smurfs game, like a platforming game. It was very, very fun. And He-Man's coming back as we speak. They're doing a new He-Man movie and released a recent trailer about it. And again, showed off way too much. Here's Castle Grayskull. Here's He-Man, and he's working a day job and doesn't even know who he is, type of thing. So interesting how Saturday morning cartoons have taken over the box office, particularly Transformers. I mean, Michael Bay took Transformers, and look, whether you love Michael Bay or you hate him, the movies are still very popular. They still sell well, and the toys are going stronger than ever. Recently on this very channel, I found these things called blockies, Blockees, and they're just like snap together style model kits that you can buy for the Transformers. Go back and watch that video and watch me talk about that. I'm telling you, you'll be buying them next day. They're like $19. They're like hardly nothing, and they look amazing. And they have them for little kids too, little bitty kits that they can buy of maybe even Dinobots or different types of Transformers and things. But Saturday morning cartoons for me were something I just absolutely looked forward to. I had my school week, and of course, it was always just absolutely long and tedious. And by the end of that week, when I got up on Saturday morning, I just wanted my comfy bowl of cereal, typically Captain Crunch, either Crunch Berries or Peanut Butter Crunch, big bowl, of milk to drink along with the cereal, and maybe a powdered donut or two in my chair watching my cartoons. And I loved Spider-Man, loved the X-Men. Um, back in the '80s when the video game popularity really started hitting, you had Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Frogger. You had all kinds of Saturday morning cartoons, and then you would have like the Hulk too, right? And like I mentioned, Spider-Man, because I was a huge comic book reader, so I was like, oh, are these stories gonna follow anything from the comics? And yeah, they kind of did. Sometimes they didn't. But that time where you could just shut your brain off and watch a really good cartoon. Oh, did you ever watch the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon? Did you ever watch that? Where they were on an amusement park ride and it kind of morphed them into the Dungeons and Dragons world, and there was the archer and the warrior and the wizard and all. I mean, again, folks, it forced you to use your imagination to fill in the blanks. Again, I mentioned the 2600 earlier. When you played the game Adventure, which is on the Atari 2600, is as close you're going to get to a Dungeons and Dragons game, you were a block. Your character was literally a square. But in my mind, I was I was a fighter. And when I picked up that little arrow that was the sword, I had my gleaming silver sword in my hand, maybe a halberd. I was ready to go do battle with the dragons. My imagination was completely at play. And we just don't have that anymore. The imagination is something that we fight against for some reason in today's world. Miss these characters, the Transformers. My gosh, more than meets the eye. They were robots, but they were also semi trucks or boom boxes, like and Bumblebee and all these great characters that we had back then. And I can remember just being glued to the Batman animated show and the way that they depicted Mr. Freeze. And he's a bad guy, but well, we kind of have to root for him because his wife died, and the whole reason he's trying to be villainous is he needs the money to keep her alive. It's like you felt for him in the moment. That's a cartoon. We need these things back in kids' lives. Now, right now, there's 24/7 cartoons on constantly, and the, they're different. They're just again, well, they're not what you like, but kids today they absolutely love them. Great, I'm glad that they do, and I'm glad that there's been SpongeBob SquarePants and things like that. I watch SpongeBob. Sure, I've seen SpongeBob, but there was nothing just like having that time on Saturday morning. And I can remember toward, later on in life, I would turn on Saturday morning TV and there was just nothing there. It was everyone selling something. It was almost like QVC was on every channel. And I was like, what, what, what happened to my cartoons? Again, here's an old man sitting on his porch telling people to get off his lawn and wondering where his World's Fair spoon is. I know. But there was something magical about these days when on a Saturday morning cartoon, when you could just sit down an hour after, and some of the craziest things got like the Dukes of Hazzard got a Saturday morning cartoon that had no business being a Saturday morning cartoon at all. The A Team, mind you, where they were shooting people and everything. Nope, Saturday morning cartoon. Gotta have it. I can remember weird things too, like Skeleton Warriors or Cowboy something of Moo Mesa, where the cowboys were cows. It was crazy. That even became a video game. So many great video games also came from Saturday morning cartoons that I really, really, really miss Saturday morning cartoons. I wish somewhere along the lines they could come back. I know you can get all of these things now on streaming. You can buy even Blu-rays of them with like entire seasons of them. As a matter of fact, I have the um the Dungeons and Dragons every episode on Blu-ray, and I'll go back and watch those from time to time. And yeah, they didn't age well, but they're still fun to go back and watch. I miss Saturday morning cartoons. All right, what's next? Yeah, do you ever remember a video game manual? You probably, if you're young, you don't, and you don't care because all you have to do is not, and you even have cooler tools, right? Right? You can go to Google and say, "How I'm on Earthworm Jim and I'm on the second level. How do I beat it?" And then it's going to take you to a YouTube video which shows somebody playing it and beating it, and then you know what to do, and that's that. So my question to you is, why bother? Why play the game? Well, don't you just watch the thing on YouTube and be done with it, right? I mean, our games back then were hard. They were, everybody goes, "Oh, these Demon Souls games and Bloodborne, these things are hard." Yet you don't know what they did was make the games almost unfair to play, right? That way you can go watch a YouTube video, but that's not going to help you. I mean, it's going to show you what you need to do, but you still got to go do it. Versus in a Earthworm Jim game, it's like, okay, well, you go to this screen, you go up the right hand side, come up, you go up, then you'll go over to the other screen, and there's going to be three things there. You just shoot those, and you're done, and blah 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 blah. But these video game manuals, see, I can remember I had a whole routine. If my mom took me to the mall and I got a video game, first thing I would do is crack that puppy open on the way home, grab that manual, and start reading it. So I was prepared. The minute I put the cartridge or the disc in my system, I was ready to play. I knew how to play it, what to do, and then it was up to me to go play it. And if I was really, 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 really stuck, I could go buy a game guide, and then the game guide would show me what I needed to do. Because back then, YouTube was only a glint in someone's eye. But today, YouTube is, or even better, go to Copilot or go to ChatGPT. How do I beat this thing? And it'll tell you. And you can just put that browser up in the window as you're playing your games on your PC or whatever, and go right through and spoil all of Baldur's Gate 3. It'll tell you everything you need to do to beat Baldur's Gate 3, and you don't have to use your imagination at all or any thinking at all to try to beat the game. Just watch your video and play the thing. But the video game and get this. A long time ago, I mean, like back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, I rode a dinosaur to school, uphill both ways in the snow all the time. And you would get video games, and not only would you open the box up and there would be a manual, but they had these things called feelies that were in there. You might get a cloth map of the world, or you might get this little glow in the dark rock. And you're like, why do I have a glow in the dark rock in the box? And as you played the game, come to find out that was the thing you needed to like make you the all ultimate, badass in the game that you could go and win, right? You used to get things like that in the box. No one does that today at all. We don't even get manuals. I can remember the first PC games that said, "Oh, the manual has been scanned in and it's in a PDF and it's in a folder on the disk, the game disk." No, no, print that thing out, put it in the box, and let me read it. Right? Why? What? Oh, that's right. No one reads anymore. We don't have to read. We have audiobooks. We have people telling us what to do. We have videos. We don't use our imaginations. We don't have to read. We don't have to work for anything anymore. It's crazy, isn't it? I loved video gaming, even for Street Fighter. Can you imagine like opening up that manual and seeing like, oh well, who's Guile? Oh, okay. Well, Guile seems to be this chargeback character because in the manual it says you need to hold back and down, and that charges up his power. And then if you go forward circle and hit this, he'll do this charge kick, flip kick. It's like, great, now you know how to do that. I don't have to go look up something or watch a video to go do it. The manual tells me what to do. As it should. I bought the game. Tell me how to play your game. But they don't. And, they call it what back then it was the companies would tell you, "Well, we're saving money," and right, that'll save you money. And no, it doesn't. Your games are still $70. So that lie has been put out there. You're not saving any money. So print the manual, put them in the boxes again, light that fire again for you. You want to know why so many people don't play your games anymore? Because we don't have any attachment to your game. Everything's throwaway. These people work years and years, 5, 6, 7, 8 years on a video game. They put it out on a Friday. People beat it over Saturday and Sunday because they can watch YouTube videos. And then Monday, they're wondering, when are any new games going to come out? I would get a Atari 2600 game, ColecoVision game, Intellivision game, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. You get that game and you'd play it, play it, play it, play it, play it, play it, play it. And then if you beat it, you might want to go back and play it again because there was like a Game Plus that you could go back and redo or try things or do things you didn't do the first time. These things are all gone, and it all started with our game manuals being taken away from us. I miss game manuals dearly, friends, and I wish they would come back. But look, I know I'm beating a drum that no one's listening to. Me, and probably a handful of people like me are the only ones who miss these things. And they would say, "Oh, those little feely things, where are they now? Do you even have any of them?" Well, they're in my game boxes for sure, but no, I don't use them or anything anymore. I don't display them. So, I get it. It's a cost, blah, blah, blah. But it also really just pulled me into the lore of the game and the love of the game. I miss that. I miss game manuals. All right. What do we have next? Okay. TV cliffhangers, right? Now, I know what you're going to say on this. Hey, Brad, we get cliffhangers all the time. As a matter of fact, don't we sometimes get them every week? Yeah. But did you ever have one like Who Shot JR? You're like, who's JR? Who is this dude that you're showing me? Because this is from a show that was, a long, 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 long time ago. Between dinosaur rides, you would watch Dallas, which was this show. It was a late night. I don't want to say late night. It was on a little bit later on Friday evenings, and it was a soap opera about this rich Texas oil family. I remember sitting down and watching this with my family and just getting absolutely enthralled in it because you love to hate this dude. He was he was Darth Vader without the costume. This guy was evil. And you rooted for him each and every week. And it was crazy what they did with the show. But there was a particular season of the show when he was in the office late one night and he had made everyone in the show mad at one point or another. Friends, his mom, his dad, his brother, brothers, everybody he knew, people he did business with, everyone had a reason to shoot him. And one night he walks out of the office because he hears something and he gets shot. And that's it, friends. That's the end of the show. And you had to wait until the show came back the following year before you had any clue about what was happening. Friends, this became such a craze that the actual queen at this time of England called. She literally called Larry Hagman, this gentleman that played JR, and said, "You must tell me who shot JR. I need to know, and I will keep it to myself. You have my promise. I'm the queen. I will tell no one, but I must know." That's how big this cliffhanger was. The minute this show ended, they had shirts out that you could go buy, t-shirts, "Who shot JR?" Or "I shot JR," right? That was the big thing. I shot him. It was me, right? And then get this, friends, because they didn't want anything leaking. Now, this was back in the 80s. They didn't want anything leaking about who really shot JR, that they actually filmed a bunch of people shooting JR, his mom, his dad, his brother, everybody, and no one knew who really, really shot JR. It was it because the producers could have picked anybody because everyone had literally shot him, all the major players. There's never ever been anything like that. I miss those types of cliffhangers in my shows. What you get this like, I can remember a show that I've just championed even here on the channel here called Pluribus, and there's been a few episodes of the show where in one of them, our main character, goes and sees something. She goes into this cold freezer room and sees something, gets this look on her face, and now you gotta wait until next week. And I was like, "Yes, yes, now we have something to speculate on all week long. What did she see?" But friends, guess what? When you binge something, you just go right to the next show and you see it and there's no cliffhanger. So it's not really a cliffhanger. There's no waiting, there's no anticipation, there's no water cooler talk, there's no calling your best friends and saying, "Oh my God, did you just see what happened here on Severance or on Pluribus or things like this?" No, 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 no. We don't have cliffhangers like Dallas. He was on the cover of People magazine. Larry Hagman went everywhere, and everybody asked him on every talk show, "Who shot you? You must tell me." Of course, he wasn't going to tell anybody. And as a matter of fact, he used that very thing to get himself a major pay boost in the show. He almost threatened not to come back if they didn't like almost double his salary back then. It's crazy. We need things like more things like this, like cliffhangers on shows where, again, we have to wait. We have to use our imagination. It gets us talking together about what do you think happened here? What do you think this could possibly be? And who could have shot him? Well, let's run through different scenarios. Well, it couldn't be his mom or dad. They love him, blah blah blah. And then you see the fact later that they actually the the dad his dad walked in, Jock Ewing walked in and said, "I've never liked you. You weren't my favorite son at all. Take this and this and this and this and this." Like he shot him like 20 times, right? And it was funny. It was they were all just kind of funny and little outtakes and things. I miss that. I miss cliffhangers. Things that we can wait and talk about maybe over a month, 2 months. In this case, it was like, I don't know, 8 months before the show came back. They had to film the next season. So, yeah, I really, really miss cliffhangers in my TV shows. Do you miss them? Or do you think, hey, really, they're not gone. You're just not seeing things the right way. Of course, we get cliffhangers in our shows and things. It goes back to what I mentioned earlier. When you know everything about a show going in, there's just no anticipation hardly of anything. So let me know. Would you want to see this type of cliffhanger brought back in the shows that you love and TV shows and movies? Let me know in the comments. All right, what's next? Bye, JR. I know who shot you, by the way. Um, what about high score screens, video games? About high scores, right? Can you remember a time when you played a video game recently that wasn't a retro game that was about high scores? Friends, this is what I lived for growing up when I would go to an arcade. This score right here, I wanted to see BSK, my initials, on the high score screen, and I wanted it on the first place. That was the goal. I wanted to be the best. It takes me back to that song, Karate Kid. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. I mean, that was me. I wanted to be number one on all these games. I hardly ever reached it, by the way. But this was something to strive for. Now, again, I hear what you're saying. There's plenty of games that do that. Plenty of online leaderboards that you can have for these things. As a matter of fact, there are even emulators now for older systems that keep these types of retro achievements and things like this, where you can keep your high scores going. And I'm all for that, trust me. But there was just something about walking into an arcade and going up to a machine and looking at that score and going 4,630 here on Frogger, here the screen on the right, and the next one's only 20. Who got 4,600? Now they do it. And that gave you a goal, something to shoot for. And it made you want to be better at the game and to learn the game in a more strategic way. Now, hear what you're saying. That works great for quarter munching games. There's no high score in Final Fantasy VII, Brad. No, those type of games don't need it. But I'm saying, why can't we have more games that do need it? Right? These games can easily be made and are still being made today, right? Um, they're just so few and far between. And again, going into a game like NBA Jam, for instance, where it was a multiplayer game, and the game was to beat the other player, right? But my friends and I we would go to the level of, okay, who can beat who by the most points, and we would actually keep a little book with us and mark down, okay, well, John beat Tim by 20, and that's so far that's leading in this year. So not only was it a contest against each other, but it was to see who could win, and then also who could score the most points. And then we would, put a dollar or two on the side bet on things like that, just to give us a little stakes and who could play the things the longest and the best. Who could learn the secrets, the secret spots on the floor where Scottie Pippen always hit his three, or where I'm positive right here that I could take Ewing and slam you to the floor every single time, get the ball, throw it down to my other player and score two, right? So my score screens were the world to me. And I absolutely adore old video games to death. You know that from this channel. But I want more. I just want these things to have score screens where I can put my score up there and play. We need more of these smaller type games like this, right? And they all don't have to be $70, and this would give us more to play. So, there could even be, yeah, I'm okay. You want to say, okay, well, let's make one massive, I don't know, even one company says, we're just going to be the online leaderboard people. All of your games can feed into this, and you can, put your name in here, and we'll keep it for all eternity right here for people to see. I'd be fine with that. But it should also be in the game itself. The game could feed that data to the leaderboard. I'd be fine with that. But leaderboards, man, were the when you walked into an arcade and your name was at the top and it stayed there for weeks after weeks after weeks, you felt like an arcade god. You really did. You felt like, well, clearly I'm the best at this. And yeah, look, I love my Final Fantasy sevens and Dragon Quests and Baldur's Gate. Those are fun games. Don't get me wrong. I love those. But I love these just as much and I miss them because these things are a dying breed. And I love the camaraderie. I love the challenges that came along with it. I just wish we had a lot more of this style game that you could put your initials up on the leaderboard. And of course, people put ass up there. And when Nintendo had an arcade game, you couldn't put ass up there. If you put ass, it would just put like NTN, like Nintendo or something like that. So there you go. E Always people trying to work a system, and, yeah, from time to time, I'd throw an ass up on the leaderboard just to, haha, on a game I didn't really care about. But please, someone bring these back for us, those of us who love to put our names on high score screens. Alright, the next one's close to my heart because I miss it so dearly, because I miss the thing that it was based on, and that's good music that had lyrics. You ever remember the song "Eye of the Tiger" from the Rocky movie, right? Rising up, back on the street, did my time, took my chances. You can think about the Rocky movie. That's exactly what he did. Pounded the streets to train, right? Running, running on the streets with the people of Philadelphia, running up that hill, Monument Circle there, and people all behind him and jumping up and smashing the meat in the meat locker as he was, fighting and all that. Did my time, took my chances. Yep, took on Apollo Creed, lost in the first movie. He went the distance, but now he's back on his feet, just a man in his will to survive. This is music that evokes emotion. You understand the lyrics. Look, I would never tell you that a song that didn't have, like, lyrics to it that you could literally hear and to be easy to hear are bad. Look, I'm not here to tell you what's good music and bad music. That's completely up to you. Look, I have kids, I know, and they listen to hip hop music, and I personally can't understand a word that's being said, none of it. And that's possibly because they don't want you to understand that each word's explicit. Because then they might have to change the rating on the thing, and I get it, but I miss this. I miss this. So many times it happened too fast. You trade your passion for glory. Remember the Rocky movie? I can't remember which one it was. It might have been the one with the Russian where he had a big home and his kid had the electric robot running around and Paulie was all fat and sitting in the chair. And it's like, yeah, he traded what was passion for big house and the glory of, oh, now I'm the best fighter, right? See what I mean? Even things like this have meaning, right? Think about a song, Careless Whisper from Lamb. Think about those lyrics, right? Should have known better than to cheat a friend, waste a chance that I was given. Now I'm never going to dance again the way I danced with you. In other words, I'm never going to have a relationship again like I had with you, and I blew it. That evokes emotion in you. It's like and it takes you back to, yeah, I had relationships like that in my life too. And then it makes you like the music more, right? But when everything's it's like, okay, I don't get that. I really don't get that. Look for it's kind of the same in like there was a whole phase of country music where, well, my dog died, my truck's down, I lost my job, I'm gonna go drink some beer and forget about all this. And that was okay too. I mean, there's some people that love that kind of music. I get it. But where's the emotion? Where's the meaning to the music? Right? And again, you're like, didn't you grow up in the 80s? I did grow up in the 80s. And yeah, we had Men at Work. Do you come from the land down under? That you could understand all that, but it made no sense. Dying in a den in Bombay with a slack jaw, not much to say. What does that mean to me? Well, it might mean something to Australian people. I don't know, but it meant nothing to me, right? Not and again, not every song has to be that way, but I miss these songs that get when you hear Eye of the Tiger, you can't help but be jazzed. You can't help but feel a way about the music. But we don't have that anymore. It's all just kind of gone, right? And there are still a few people that have lyrics that they're not a bit afraid to tell you, here's the lyrics, you can understand them. Please enjoy them. Please enjoy the music that goes along with them. But, that's one out of every 10,000 anymore. And I mean, music is kind of a crazy thing anyway. Once, back in my day, there was this whole Napster thing, and everyone just decided, hey, we're going to steal music, and it's all going to be free. And because we're tired of paying, $20 for a CD, and there being one good song on it, I just want the song that I want. And if there was some way, and then Apple saw that and said, yeah, I'll give you every song for $1 to get started, like a crack dealer. Every song's $1. And now, of course, like everything, like, they're way more than that. And, now you have libraries that you don't own the music for. You can only license it or rent it, right? Which is absolutely crazy. But this is what we're choosing as a society. I mean, I'll get off that soap. That's for another show about the downfall of Western of our society, the contemporary society. It just every year it just gets worse and worse and worse. But again, I think we can expect that. But I really do miss a good song with great lyrics. I mean, one of the best ones that I can even remember from my time was a compilation of some of the greatest artists. We Are the World. Do you remember that song? Or Do They Know It's Christmas? That was the European version of a song that would help people, right? I just miss stuff like that. Absolutely miss good songs with great lyrics. What do you think? Do you have a favorite song with great lyrics like this that always takes you back to a certain time in your life, or maybe a bad relationship or a good relationship, right? Or did you and your significant other have your song back then? That was the thing back then. You had your song. Every time it played, it's like, yep, that's our song. That's the song that we knew when we first dated or we were married or whatever. I mean, that's kind of cool. Another thing that's died out, isn't it? And I know probably by now you're like, look, I'm getting this vibe that you're old. And really what happened to you this past week is you started feeling huge nostalgia for things. You're right. That's exactly what happened. But also, I miss these things. And I wish that they could at least in some way come back because a lot of these things still matter and make sense to have. But anyway, all right, let's move on to the next thing. So, here's something I used to have so much fun doing. I mean, it was such a blast to go do on the weekly basis. A weekly basis. Every single week I would go. Where would I go? Blockbuster. I would go into a Blockbuster and just anticipate what new movies are going to be there. What new movies have come out that I could go see. I love horror movies. Where is there a new Friday 13th out? Is there a new Nightmare on Elm Street? What is there a new funny movie? Is there like a new like Christmas Vacation or what's out there? And then once you found all the movies and you found your 10 movies for that week, you go to the video game section. You can go, all right, well, let me pick up some Game Boy Advance games, pick up a PlayStation game, because I'm going to be able to rent those for a week. Oh my gosh, they have the new PlayStation 2, and I can rent the whole system, and I can rent games for that. And then on the way out, grab some popcorn and some candy. Yeah, I was spoiled. We've already look, go back and listen to all these. You know I was spoiled. So I had all that. And it was something that I desperately missed because once again there was anticipation. What's new there? I don't know. What's going to be new? What's going to be the greatest thing that's going to be up on the shelf? And many times you would go in and just see what appeared to be hundreds of movies, one movie up on this thing, and all gone, all gone, all rented. And you're like, how did that? You mean to tell me right now where I live, there's over 100 people watching this movie and they get to keep it for 3 days? I'm gonna have to wait 3 days? Yeah, yeah, I know. Now we have streaming and you never have to wait. So what are you belly aching about? No, I get it. I get it. But also, do you own it? No. Can you watch it like whenever you want? No, because Netflix might lose it. HBO might lose it. And then where do I go stream it? And then sometimes you have to go pay for it again when you've already paid for it once to have the copy, right? Because again, from Blockbuster, once movies were out and it was time to go, they would sell them dirt cheap. You could pick up brand new movies for $5, $10, right? That's just not a thing anymore. It was just that whole experience of driving to the store and having the anticipation. What new games are going to be there? What new movies are going to be there? Do they have any brand new candy? Because mine was like an expert at putting new different types of candies and popcorns and different types of snacks and things on the way out. I miss that. I miss Blockbuster badly. But this is something I know is long gone. Then this will never come back. And I've come to terms with that, right? Because everything now, people have agreed once again, we don't want to own anything ever. We don't own our video games. We don't own our music. We don't own our movies. We don't own our television. Everything is on a lease, right? So many times over this past year have I heard, oh, you know that game you used to play on your Xbox or your PlayStation? Yeah, we've pulled that. The servers are closed. You can't play it anymore. Well, didn't I buy that? Didn't I pay 70? Yeah, you did. You did. But you were only bought a license. Game wasn't even on the disc. You had to download it. And we've turned that off. You can't play that anymore. Does that make sense? Does that you don't go to McDonald's and say, "Well, here's my $5 for my hamburger," and they go, yeah, no, the license is revoked. We're not making the hamburger." Well, you'd be irate. This is how we are anymore with things. I have a Steam library for my PC games. And I don't know, I think I have over 20,000 games in their thing. Again, this is many. I was a day one Steam user, so I know. And do I own any of those games? No. Look, Steam even has it in the rules. Get this. Get this. When I die, which will happen one day, all that's gone. I can't leave it to my family, right? Nothing. Those games are gone, and Steam knows it. I signed up for that when I signed up for my Steam account. Because here's what's going to happen. You're like, oh, just give your login to your kids. Okay. Hey, Brad, are you 120? No, you're not. No one lives to be 120. So your account, someone's using it that's not you, shut it down. That's exactly what will happen. We don't own anything anymore, friends. And this is what, again, as a society, we've said, yeah, that's okay. I don't want, I don't want shelves behind me of all these video games or DVDs or Blu-rays that I'm not going to watch or anything because I would just want to watch them when I want to watch them. And it's all about convenience. Friends, I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but we are slowly but surely becoming the Disney movie Wall-E, right? That company by and large, in other words, buy, B-U-Y, and large, you're going to get large, right? Because you're never going to have to go do anything for yourself. Will bring the thing right to you. Well, this is Amazon, right? I buy everything off Amazon. It's delivered right to my door. I go pick it up. I go order my food off DoorDash, pick it up, and I eat it. And it's trash food 9 times out of 10. It's not good for you in any way, shape, or form. And nobody bothers to exercise or go do anything. Before long, we're all going to be on floating tables like Wall-E, and we're not going to own a single thing. How would we get that way? I don't know, but here we are. Welcome to 2026 and onward. You can't go into a store anymore. These stores don't even exist. Notice store closing. Blockbuster's long gone, and I miss it. I miss it. But I've saved the best for last. Okay. The final thing that I miss more than anything, just as a 57-year-old who never grew up, yeah, Toys R Us. Look at that wall. Look at that beautiful wall of video games. You're like, that's a wall of video games, Brad? Yeah, sure is. Like there are video games and then there are tags above them that tell you how much the game is. And you can take that tag that's the video game, you can flip it over and see the box. But by the way, now it's upside down, so you can't even hardly read it. That's how you knew a new game was coming out. You would go to that wall and look, and you would see new Nintendo games, NES games, SNES games, ColecoVision and television, PlayStation, blah, blah, blah. That's how you knew there was a new game out. But that was the video game section. Then you go back into the regular store, go to the Star Wars aisle and look at all the new action figures. And then all of a sudden, companies like Todd McFarlane Toys came in, and now I had my Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th, and it looked just like him. And you could display those things, and they were so cool. And you had your Transformers, and then 2 aisles over from that, you had board games. You could go get all the newest board games that you could ever imagine was all there. And then, of course, Legos. They had all the Legos, and I mean, it was just like a kid's heaven. And when I first started going there, I mean, these places were immaculate. They were well run. Everybody knew where everything was at. But like everything else, the longer and longer time went, friends, I remember going into a Toys R Us toward the end of their life and walking into the store. And friends, I have to admit, the one that I go to is in kind of a wealthier neighborhood. So you wouldn't expect this. I walked in and looked down on the floor, and there was literally a dirty, open diaper on the floor. Somebody just left it there at a Toys R Us. This is what we came to, right? No employee picking it up, nobody, nothing. It's just going to sit there all day long. The shelves were hardly, stocked with anything that you needed. You couldn't ask anything. Collectors were coming in to these people who were paid nothing to work there, by the way, and saying, "Hey, these Pokemon cards that you get? Here, look, I'm going to give you $50. You call me when you get your stock in because I just gave you $50. You let me know when the new cards are coming in so I can buy them all to put them all up on eBay." And then the average person couldn't get a Pokemon card. Crazy. But that's what happened. Everybody looks to work systems and game systems. And before long, what this wall turned into was a literal cage in the front of the store. Yes, a cage that had metal all the way around it. And you would have to then take the ticket that was on the wall and then go up and pay for the thing and then take your ticket over to that cage and they would get the game and hand it to you because people would steal the games coming off the wall. It was crazy. It's crazy. But as the quality at Toys R Us changed and the prices at Toys R Us changed, so Toys R Us closed. Now I understand they're trying to come back again today, and there are a few stores that are open, but history repeats itself. I have no hopes that this Toys R Us in its new reincarnation would come back in any way, shape, or form like it was before. But friends, Toys R Us in my time was nearly a child's heaven. It was a place where you could go and just wonder. You could stay in there for hours and look at like I mentioned, games, action figures, video games. There were like construction style sets for kids or science sets and art and crafts things that you could do, and it was absolutely an amazing place that I so miss spending my weekends at. And again, that time is so much gone. And I know, as I'm looking back over all of these things, like I mentioned, just to give you a rundown of these things one more time, just like the movies, Avengers Doomsday versus Empire Strikes Back, not knowing everything about a movie, or Saturday morning cartoons being long gone, video game manuals being long gone, TV cliffhangers being long gone, arcade high score screens being long gone, music that had lyrics and meaning and made you feel something, long gone. Blockbuster and Toys R Us. I get it. These are all things that are just, you could wrap all of this up into one tiny little word saying nostalgia. Brad had a nostalgia week and he was feeling sad about the things that he missed, right? But aren't you happy about the things you have, right? Look, don't get me wrong. Of course I am. Of course I am. Look, I'm the guy that sits and watches YouTube videos in the background at work, right? So I'm going to watch what the new shows are going to be about and all that. And I'm going to ruin them for myself. And then I'm going to sit here and complain to you that I ruined something for myself. I don't have to watch those, by the way. I know that. But what you can't take away is this wonderful feeling of earlier times when you had less responsibility and things were new and you could use your imagination. I so wish those times and things could come back again and we could do those things all over again. I fully believe our country would be better for it. All right. So that's the show for this week, episode 15 of the Have I told you about this? So now I told you about all the things that I missed this week. Would you take the time down in the comments below to share with me some of the things that maybe you miss, right? And that may be some things that I don't miss at all. And I would love to understand what it is that you miss, particularly if you're in the younger crowd who are watching this. What are some of the things that you miss, right? Do you miss Napster? Do you miss, well, what are some of the things that you miss? What are, also like food places. I used to go eat at Chi-Chi's all the time. Gone. Absolutely gone. Don Pablo's, love Mexican food. Gone, right? All these wonderful, I used to tell my family and said, they would say, "Oh, did you like your dinner?" And I would tell them, "I can't tell you I like it. I can't tell you it's good because if I do, they'll close the place tomorrow because everything that I like goes." That's just how it feels, right? I know that's not true, but that's how it feels. So let me know down in the comments, what do you miss these days, right? What is it that you're longing for, feeling a little bit of nostalgia for? I'd love to have some conversation with you around those things. All right. So that's the end of episode 15 here of the Have I Told You About This podcast. Once again, have to thank everyone, each and every one of you, all 5 or 4 or 3 or 2 or however many it's going to be this week, who watch the show, enjoy it, comment on it, and hit that like and subscribe. If you would just like and subscribe, even if you never plan on watching this again, it just helps the show get a little bit more eyes on it. And that's really all I hope, right? I'm never going to monetize the show. It's not about money. Don't need it. Don't worry about it. Never going to ask you for it. Just love to share some time with you each and every week about certain things and places where my mind takes me. So again, for those of you, the few, the proud, the people that do like the show, or the people that even left comments like, "Hey, you should quit. You're terrible." I heard you too. I'm still here, but I heard you and I appreciate you. So thank you. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and go out and have a wonderful week and think about where your mind takes you this week. All right. Come on back for episode 16 next week. We'll see you next week. Take care.